641. The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. I'm Cliff Kelly, and we are so pleased to continue with the leader of the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. He also likes Gene Ammons. That's great. He just said he likes Gene Ammons. Thank you so much for being here. Our call-in number is 591-1690, and you can go to www.wvon.com and see this on a webcast. So if you want to see the brother, he is looking great. And we're going to take some calls because of people who've been holding. And he is staying until 7 o'clock. So we'll take calls and we're going to talk about some issues that we want to discuss. But we'll take a couple of calls first. Anita from Oak Forest, thank you for holding. You're on the Talk of Chicago.
Hi, Cliff.
Hello, Anita.
And hi, Assalamu alaikum, Minister Farrakhan.
Wa alaikum salam, sister.
I just love you, Cliff, for doing this. I just love you so much. You just don't know. But, Minister Farrakhan?
Yes.
My family, I had married into a family that grew up in the Nation of Islam. That was the one who had the Omar on the Nile juice.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
And Sister Zelly is still loving the Nation of Islam and Imam Waruddin Muhammad. So you have support. And all 6 of my children, 4 of my sons, they were at the one of my sons was at the Unity thing Saturday, the Black State of the Union or whatever Tavis Smiley had.
Yes.
And he was so impressed with you. He was just really happy. That was my oldest son. But what I want to say today is, first of all, I will not help Israel fight their blood brothers. That is against my American agenda. I don't help people fight their brothers. Second of all, I'm worried about the African-American male having the only option of military and prison. And the Nation of Islam and the Black Church have always tried to restore the broken families from slavery for the last 300 years or the next 200 after that or whatever it's been now. And we have no way out other than that. And they're calling us, the Black Church and the Black Mosque, anti-American and terrorists. So how are we going to deal with this issue when I know we have to have the church, and the white church, they're resorting to pedophiles and homosexuality. We cannot look to them for direction and guidance. Okay. And I brought Reverend Al Sharpton's brother, Kenneth Glasgow. He works with the prisoners so that he could hear your response to what I'm asking, because the family is very important.
Thank you, Anita. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Mm-hmm.
Very briefly, sister, as I said at the meeting this past Saturday with Brother Tavis, Brother Cornel West, and Eric Dyson, and our dear former councilwoman, Dorothy Tillman, and, of course, others. But listen, in the 40s, A. Philip Randolph went to the White House with black leaders and addressed Franklin Delano Roosevelt and ran down a litany of the problems that black people faced, and they wanted him to address it. And after dinner, he handed everyone at the table, according to what I heard, a cigar. And he said, Mr. Randolph, everything you've said is true. But now you go and make me do it. This was in the 40s, and the cry was justice and jobs. Here we are in the 60s with the March on Washington. The cry at that march was jobs and justice. 20 years later, again, jobs and justice. Here we are in 2010 crying out for jobs and justice. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, quote, "We do not believe that America will ever be able to furnish enough jobs for her own millions of unemployed, in addition to jobs for the 20 million black people as well." He said this in the 60s, and he warned us that we had better start pooling our resources to do something for ourselves before we were forced to do it. And in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, our great cartoonist put up factories that were closed and fences with locks on the door and a stream of black people in a line waiting to try to find a job. Well, that's real today. Let me be very candid. I don't care how many conferences we have at the White House with our president. You can't produce jobs out of thin air. They can print money out of thin air, but you can't produce jobs out of thin air. The industrial base that America was built on is no longer the bedrock of the American economy. They're talking about green jobs, but how many young black people are qualified, are being trained to fit into that kind of economic development? So look, this crying out to America to do for us what we should be trying to do for ourselves is our problem. Eric Dyson said in one of his talks on Saturday, he said, Barack Obama is the new Pharaoh. And afterwards I said, wow, well, if he's Pharaoh, this must be Egypt. And we must be the children of Israel. Well, Moses and Aaron never tried to beg Pharaoh for a job. Moses and Aaron told Pharaoh, let my people go, because God had land for them that he had already marked out for them to build a nation unto God. Land is the basis of economic independence, and if we don't have sufficient land, we can't put our people to work. We can't build an economy if we don't have land. So what is going to happen in the next few days as the social fabric of the United States of America begins to seriously unravel? When people have no jobs, they have no income, they become uncivil, and the beast-like, animal-like tendencies in human beings begin to manifest, as we are seeing since this health care bill was passed. And so it is also written that blood would be in the streets up to the horse's bridle. This is not fake theology. That is real. It's beginning and it will grow. So where is our future? How many churches have trained their people to be prepared for disaster preparedness, disaster management? How many of us are really prepared? When we look at Haiti and what just happened, it was that the buildings were not soundly put up, many of them, but the people were not prepared for such an emergency. Close to Cuba, and we visited Cuba, and Cuba has had some terrible disasters, very few loss of life, because they're prepared. We tried to learn from them, and now I'm encouraging all pastors, all preachers, look, we've got to prepare our people for the trying days that we have entered. May God bless you and your family. The only thing I can tell you, we need some land that we can call our own to build a nation that answers the critical needs of our people, because America can't do it, won't do it, so we are going to be forced to do it for ourselves.
Okay, let's go to another caller. Jamal from the West Side. Hi, Jamal. You're on the Talk of Chicago with Minister Farrakhan.
Yes, sir. Did you say Jamal, sir?
Yes, I did.
Oh, yes, sir. Thanks, Brother Cliff. Thanks for taking my call. And assalamu alaikum to both of you all.
Walaikum salam, brother.
Yes, sir. Minister Farrakhan, I wanted to know, when are you going to go, or not necessarily physically go, when are you going to let Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity or one of those other devils interview you? Because they've been calling you out. I listen to them almost every day, and they challenging you, and I just really want you to get on there and just give them a good whooping.
Well,
You know, 'cause they always call you anti-Semitic, and you know we who love you and know who you are, you know we know you're not that, and I just really want you to get on there and just give them a good whooping.
Thank you,
Well,
Jamal.
I appreciate it, brother, but they are not worthy of my breath.
Yep. I like your response. Let's go to James from Phoenix. Hey, James, you're on the Talk of Chicago.
Hey, how are you, brother?
Fine,
Phil?
fine, sir.
And to the loving minister,
Mm-hmm.
I greet you with shalom.
Shalom, brother.
Okay, I just like to say real quick that we had these conferences about everything, but I think seriously, if the Obama administration don't go right and don't make it through, and the peace that he's trying to bring for all people, maybe one of our main vocal point at those conferences should be some type of separation for our people.
Thank you,
Okay,
I just
brother.
like to know.
All right,
And
thank you,
I'll
James.
just answer that by saying this. Obama is really America's last chance to get it right for herself. I think that black people do themselves a disservice to expect from a benevolent white or black president what we have to take responsibility to do for ourselves. The Bible, in the book of Isaiah, it says, quote, "And they will rebuild the wasted cities." We live in the major cities of America, and the part of the cities where we live are mostly wasted. There are skills required to rebuild the wasted cities, and there is money required. If we're going to ask the president for anything, look, if he gave back to black people just some of our tax dollars that we could put in a national treasury to train our people in the skills that are necessary, then we could take the wasted parts of where we live and build it up, put the buildings back on the tax roll, save the cities. There's a lot that we can do, but being national and international beggars, this is the wrong season for that. In fact, I'll close with words from Elijah Muhammad. You know, if you don't speak correctly, you know, you're not accepted. And speaking correctly means that you have good verb and subject agreement. Well, you can't be in the present speaking in the past. Your action, we are in the present. The actions that we are taking are the actions of a slave, the actions of the past. We once were slaves that we had to look to the master for food, clothing, shelter, education, or whatever we got. If we are in the present and they say we are free, why shouldn't we walk the way of free men and women and do these things for ourselves? We have all this talent. President Obama shows that we can run a government. Eric Holder shows that we can absolutely run a legally beneficial state. We have city councilmen, we have sheriffs, we have mayors, we have governors. What is this for? It's to prepare you for self-governance and self-rule, but you got to come away from Pharaoh. He's already let you go. Why don't you let him go and let's go do something for ourselves?